Okay, we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Open Book. I am Billy Price. I am co-founder of Billy Footwear. And I've said this before, and I'll say it every single time. I absolutely love Open Book because it's the opportunity for us to share information about our brand. But more importantly, it's the opportunity to share the stories of others that are doing absolutely incredible things. And on screen today, I am so honored to have KB Holmes. She is a mother, she is an author of the book Amori Wears Green. And she reached out to me, and I am just so excited for you to be here today. So, KB,
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you. Happy to be here.
So, there's lots of questions I want to ask you, and but I think because I didn't share this with you, I bought the book, I read the
Oh,
book,
great.
and
Oh, thank
I
you.
read the book with my 4.5-year-old, and we absolutely
Okay.
loved it.
Oh,
So
good. Good.
I want to give the opportunity to tell us about the book. What inspired you to write it?
Okay, so Emery Words Green is inspired by my oldest daughter, Mackenzie. Her middle name is actually Emery. So she was born with a traumatic brain injury at birth, and that kind of led to her having cerebral palsy. So because she's 5, it's been a journey thus far, and I know it'll continue to be a journey. However, but when she was in the NICU, we used to read to her all books that we could find. And once we got out of the NICU and kind of started on our journey as just a family, we wanted to kind of find something that represented her in a book as far as her disability goes. But I couldn't really find it. So as time kind of progressed, the idea of writing a book kind of sat with me for a while, but I never actioned it. And then one day, I feel like God kind of spoke to me and gave me my story in one setting. So I kind of took that, I wrote it down in one setting, and then we kind of just pushed forward with the book. So she does have acquired cerebral palsy, and she has a vision impairment as well, which why she has on glasses in the book. So I wanted her to be seen in a children's book, and the way that I wrote the book was a way that adults and children can actually learn what cerebral palsy is, so that it can be shared. Because my niece asked me one day, kind of, why is she in a wheelchair? And it kind of stunned me. I didn't really know how to kind of explain it to, at the time, a 4-year-old. So when that kind of stuck with me as far as how I wanted to write the book as well. And then this is how we have now Emery Wears Green.
Wow. Wow. So
Yes,
a few things. One is have you ever written a book before? Is this your first one?
absolutely not. English is not my strong suit. So this has been definitely out of my comfort zone.
Well, now that you have one in your back pocket, are you looking to do more?
I am. So she does have, I'm not going to say a grocery list of diagnoses, but she does have quite a few. And I do want to be able to, because she has siblings, and I want to be able to kind of explain to children kind of what those differences are in the disability community. And if you see them, it's okay, still treat them as a normal child because that's what they are, even if they may appear different. So, a fun fact, Hope in the book is actually Harmony, so her little sister. So they're both represented in this book here.
Oh, love that. Okay. Well, I have to say the illustrations. Well, who is your illustrator?
So she's actually from Ukraine, and I cannot pronounce her name. So I call her Jenny, and she's absolutely amazing. I gave her the story and kind of my idea of what I was thinking, and she just brought it to fruition. They're absolutely beautiful. I love every single page.
Well, I can definitely attest that the photographs or the illustrations are just they're so crisp, they're beautiful, they're so
Hmm.
engaging.
They are.
It was such an honor to be able to purchase the book
Thank
and
you.
read it with my 4.5-year-old. And the part that you already kind of gave me a little bit of heads up on, and after reading the book, and I was focusing in on the shoes.
Yes.
And I was saying, like, hey, to my son, his name's Remington. I'm like, Remington, what? Take a look at these shoes. And he says, those are my shoes, because he wears the same shoes. So, yeah, to have the Billy footwear in the book, I mean, that's really special.
Yes, so the leopard shoes are my absolute favorite. So she's grown into 4 pairs of AFOs now, and we've had the leopard for the last two for her size. They're my favorite, absolute favorite. She wears it all the time. So when I spoke with Jenny about the illustrations and kind of what areas I wanted to focus in. Her wheelchair, her AFOs, and shoes and glasses were like my highlights. I didn't want it to be just a solid color shoe. You know, I wanted it to be what it is. Like that's really what she wears. That's really what we love. So it was an honor just to even be able to include that part.
Mm, well, amazing. So I'm sure, so this is going out to lots of people. Lots of people have seen this. So I wanted to make sure that we get the information out where people can buy the
Okay.
book. So let's start with your website. And so on the web, it's theholmesjourney.com. And then on social, I believe it's the same thing, correct?
It is on Facebook and Instagram. It's the Homes Journey. That is my family, and we try to share a little bit of our journey in the disability community to just let people know that they're not alone. You know, even though you have whether it's cerebral palsy or any diagnoses, it doesn't define you. You can still have an absolutely amazing life. We take our daughters to do adaptive sports. She last weekend she did adaptive surfing. So you know that's something we've never done as adults. So you know, it just because you can't do certain things or you're limited in what you can do does not mean you cannot live an amazing life.
So can you walk me through surfing, what that even looks like? Because that sounds incredible.
Oh, it was absolutely amazing to watch. So they're actually building a chair to go on top of the surfboards now for the kiddos. But for Mackenzie, when we went, the chair wasn't ready. So they have a team about 7 to 10 people with the surfboard and the kiddo, and they one person holds the child, and they kind of sit Indian style, and they have another person. Well, the team of people they they kind of ride the waves as they go by, and it's absolutely amazing to see.
Mm, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
you have to look.
So,
Yeah, if you go to our social on Instagram or Facebook, we have pictures and videos, so you can definitely see it. It's beautiful.
oh my gosh. Okay, I definitely will. So I'm a wheelchair user myself,
Hmm.
and I broke my neck when I was a teenager, and my sport of choice before being in a wheelchair was skiing. And
Nice.
after getting injured, I wanted to take back the slope, so we figured out a way to make it happen. I loved the water as well. I never took up surfing, but boy, Mackenzie may have just inspired me to try to give that a shot.
Oh, good. So skiing is actually on our list as well. I've seen a few areas that do adaptive skiing, so that's been our focus. Like we just want her to be able to experience everything. I think just because you're in a wheelchair, you don't have to be bound to that wheelchair. You can still get out and explore and just have an awesome weekend and summer and winter, just like every other kid.
Yeah, boy, that's so true. That's absolutely true. I also wanted to I was hoping we can go a little bit deeper as well on Mackenzie's story, because I mean, so for example, like when I broke my neck,
Hmm.
and I was in the hospital, I was 18 years old. It was definitely not my plan to get
Right, right,
injured, to go from fiercely independent to dependent,
right.
and it took a lot to, I guess, cope and digest
Hmm.
with what was going on. And the injury was tough on me, but I think it was much tougher on my parents.
Hmm.
And I guess what I would say is, and kind of this question is kind of a broad scope question, but families out there are going to be going through. They have
Right.
kids that have cerebral palsy, and it's something that is going to be happening that's completely unexpected. So I
Absolutely.
was hoping that perhaps you could share a little bit on your journey, like when you heard the news, and how you were able to digest that information and just work to move forward.
Okay, so because she was born unresponsive, which led to her brain injury. So she was originally diagnosed, or at first diagnosed with HIE, and then that kind of led to everything else. So while she did 3 months in the NICU, and within the first 2 days, they told us that she most likely will have cerebral palsy. Um, mentally, emotionally, I couldn't really take it in. I didn't understand it. I've heard of the word or the term, but I never knew what it was. So her first year of life, I will say, was the biggest challenge. I'm just trying to understand all the new medical terminology, understand her needs, how to meet her needs, how to just ensure that she survives, pretty much. That was my biggest goal. But as time kind of progressed on our journey, I had to kind of look at it like it's not a burden. It's a different way of life, absolutely, but it's not a burden. So looking at that and knowing and starting to learn different resources that they had, just not even in our local area, but just in the world with just adaptive everything. It gave me hope. Meeting families who were on similar journeys and how they kind of dealt with everything gave me hope. And it kind of just put me in a glide path of just wanting to help others because I know how I felt when we got our original when we got her diagnosis. I know how I felt. I know how heartbroken I was, and just to kind of see how far we made it. She's alive. Like that is the biggest thing that I share with people is that yes, things could be different. Absolutely. If I could change it, would I? Probably not, because I've learned between me and my husband, we've learned much more about ourselves and just about the world around us as well through the lens of raising a child with a disability like this. So we have so much drive and so much hope to just want to pour into other people because how dark of a time that we shared at the very beginning of our journey, we don't want that to be the end for another family because there's so much more rainbows and unicorns on the other side. They look different. They definitely look different, but there's so much joy on the other side. So we use it as motivation now. Like we don't let it hinder us as a family or as individuals. We just continue to push.
Wow. I couldn't, yeah, that was incredible. I mean, you're so right. You are so right. And something that I found is, so I mean, all I can do is really relate it to like when I was an inpatient and, there were so many people that were around me trying to support me, but the choice, they couldn't fix me, I guess. And so that
Right.
it took action on my part. It took action on my family's part. And, um, it's and when you make that choice to move forward, I love you talking about being alive. I mean, that was the one thing. Like I took a headfirst fall to concrete. It's like, wow,
Yeah.
that could have been game over. But instead, like
Right.
still being alive, that was enough to put my smile on my face to push forward. And that's
Hmm.
exactly what you guys did as well, and continuing to do it. And
Absolutely.
it's incredible. Like as you move forward, all of a sudden, like it just builds this big community. So, and another thing too, I can relate to is, well, maybe not. I just remember this was 1996, so this is a while ago, and it was very difficult to find information, and it was very difficult to be able to get connected, and even to
Hmm.
find like some sort of book. I mean, that was just unheard of.
Right.
So the
Right.
fact that there's information out there and there's groups out there to be able to share, I mean, my goodness, like we're all better for it.
Oh, absolutely. Now, I mean, it is a new time, but I will say resources are still hard to find for families. Like we've been on the journey 5 years and we learn something new every week. Like there's so much out there as far as organizations or just families that want to help, but everybody doesn't quite have a voice yet. So learning those resources and just kind of connecting with other families for us have been just very rewarding because we've moved 3 states since my daughter was born, and the resources in every state is different. So, being able to kind of, I guess, take on that problem of looking for it and actually finding the help to be able to share with other people lessens the burden on them. So it has been absolutely rewarding. Like it's a handful when we move at first with learning, what they have to offer or just even connecting with other families. But every state we try to make sure it's a positive move. We're learning something not just for us but to better the disability community as a whole.
Mm. So where do you live now? What state?
Florida, we live in Florida.
Wow. So we're out of Seattle. So boy, we're
Okay.
kitty corner to each other. Look at that.
Yes. Yes.
And you said the two kids?
Yes. Oh no, I'm sorry, I have three. I have a newborn as well.
Oh, yay.
I
Okay,
kind of forget
cool.
about that, it's still so new.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yes.
Well, KB, I want to be respectful of your time. Thank you so much for joining us today. As I say, we loved the book. We absolutely did.
Thank
I mean,
you.
I read it to my son. He was very much engaged. We also have a toddler that's She's 16 months. She wasn't.
Oh,
She loved
nice.
the pictures. She was touching the pictures and
Oh,
everything.
good.
The words weren't really setting in quite yet, but
Right.
the illustrations are so vibrant. It was definitely catching her eye.
Oh, great.
But before we sign off, I just want to give you the mic one more time. Is there anything else you wanted to share or something we didn't cover?
Nope. Just want to highlight the book, Emery Wears Green. It's available on our website, thehomesjourney.com, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and Walmart.com. It's a great book. Even if you have a neurotypical child, they can learn about other children. It's a way to learn to just accept children for what they are, how they appear. They're still kids at the end of the day. And that's it.
Wow. Wow. Well, you inspired me on many levels right here.
Oh,
One,
great.
Mackenzie inspired me to go surfing.
Great.
Two, people have also asked me to write a book someday. And now that you're an
Yes.
author, I mean, that's another thing that kind of inspired me to try to pick up the pen and see what I can do. And
Let's
we've
do
also,
it.
well, that's exactly what it is, right? Just like one word after the next.
Yes.
And then the idea of doing a children's book as well. I mean, that's just such a cool idea. I mean, it just connects with the family and ties it together, and so many people can not only find inspiration for it, but just that connection piece. Because I mean, my gosh, like, just so everyone out there, I mean, the story as you're moving forward, I mean, she's wearing a green shirt, and then everyone's connecting, asking about the green shirt, and it's just this opportunity to share about her world, and people are just engaged and receiving, and it just, I don't know. I think it's a testament to the change that's happening in this world, and it's just exciting to see.
Oh, great. It's great to hear. I love to be a part of that change.
Well, thank you again, KB, and everyone else out there. This was another episode of Open Book. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to check out Emery Wears Green, and we'll have another episode of Open Book real soon. Okay, till then, take care.